study of preschool when he started. Come straight from home to. But what I want to say before I say that, I want to say my condolences to Donnie and the McKaiser family, and to Helen and the Stevens family. That is actually how I wanted to start. But anyway, as I said, I wish my husband was here because he was a great public speaker. But he passed on 17 years ago. Anyway, I think you would be proud if I feel he would have been the right person to stand here today, but I feel so blessed. When I posted the status the other day about Eusebius, I said, I was blessed to know him as a pupil at St. Mary's at primary school. Because then already we realized what a brilliant mind he had. And Sister Monica, I feel, was his guardian angel, because Sister Monica also saw that, and she, from an early age, he started doing extracurricular music classes with Mrs. Higgins, which Sister imported into our school, a white lady. And Sister always said, this is not just any school, it's a private school. So we were so blessed, yeah. And I personally felt blessed, but anyway, I felt blessed to have Eusebius, or to work with Eusebius as a student. I don't even want to say I was his teacher, because that time already I saw that brilliance. I realized how brilliant he was. So I feel I was his facilitator. Yeah, and really, he was such a reserved, many of you will be shocked to know, he was a very reserved, quiet, reserved boy in the class with a brilliant mind. Quiet boy who knew his own mind. And I was teaching him at a time. I said he started with Mrs. Wessels as his grade 1 teacher. My sister Sandra van Vught, she was Karim the time he was in a class. And he mentioned at Helen's 70th birthday about his experience with Mrs. Sandra, they started learning English in grade 2, and she was the one who laid the foundation for his English. And then he was in grade 3 with Mrs. Strauss, who's still alive today. Sister Monica is also still alive today, by the way, in Ireland. And he was in grade 4 with, I think, Mr. Bokrath, because that's where but I started teaching him in standard 3. He came into my life in my school career. And then after he left grade 5, that time we said standard 3, but anyway, he left, I was so I didn't realize what an impact he made on my life. And I was sitting, Helen and them are just a stone drop away from, I can see from my yard, I can look in. I said to my husband and Miss Jacobs, Dolores Jacobs, oh, he was passing on to grade 7 that year. It was December time. I would be so sad if that brilliant mind, I was looking at Eusebius in the other, goes to waste. But I'm glad to say today it didn't go to waste. He did us so proud in so many ways. My late husband Jerome and Sister Monica, did I say he was with Mrs. Major? I see her here also today in grade 2. Yeah, and then he passed on to my husband Dolores, and and Panpach, which he always wrote about in his articles. And Sister Monica and my late husband went, we were a church school, and that's why it really felt like a private school those days, in those, And Sister had everybody that she could get, any human resource that she could get, she brought into the school. People from Kingswood, we had to take turns to take them to the music classes in the afternoon. We were fed up with Sister, but we did it. And Sister always said, it's not the qualifications of the teacher, it's the quality of the teacher. And I don't know, maybe that brilliance, and Sister had, Eusebius, he realized that the brilliant mind was, he had extracurricular classes, we had to take them to violin classes later, and anyway. Sister and my late husband went, we belonged to the CIE, visited our schools regularly. They looked after us. Financially, they gave donations, or they made sure we get the first copying machine in the colored, in the black schools. I think our school was the first one who had it. And we just see, here's a microwave, here's a this. Sister didn't say anything. She got these donations from overseas or whatever, and she just took photos all the time and sent it without our permission. We were so fed up. And we knew we did fundraising, but it was a drop in the ocean, what we raised in comparison what Sister brought into the school. But never mind that. The thing is, Sister and my late husband applied for bursary because of this was a brilliant mind. And we said, and Sister made sure that this brilliant mind was not going to wasted. And they got this bursary from this Catholic schools institution to pay Eusebius' school fees. Luckily for Eusebius, it was open at the time. But when he started school, it wasn't open. By the time he left our school, he could go there, and they paid for it. And it was worth it. He made use of that opportunity. He did us proud. He won the debate competitions. He was put in, and I think that is where he learned to speak. But in his quiet way, he won many, and then that's how he went overseas with these. But anyway, he made use of the opportunity. He didn't take it for granted that he was brilliant. And I think I must stop now, but what I want to say is he touched so many lives with it, and he used that brilliant mind and shared it with to enrich other people's lives. And he made such a huge impact on the universe in the whole. And it's a gift. Eusebius was blessed. He blessed us with that brilliant mind, because we learned from our learners as well. We didn't know everything. It was a good, it didn't feel like work for me to be in the teaching profession, because of the joy that you got from your children, and the reward. It's very rewarding. It was very rewarding to work with a person like him. I mean, and even the slower ones, we they helped us. They helped us to get them on track as well. You see, Sister, we had to take part in Eisteddfods. That was apartheid time. There wasn't a place for us really, but Sister forced us to come to this monument. Eisteddfods, Eusebius had to do the music. We had to do the poems. I said, ooh, why? And you know what? St. Mary's came home with gold rewards. That's why I started my career there, and I ended it there. And I feel I was blessed by working with such a brilliant mind. And it's just overwhelming. It's just, I couldn't believe. But what I have to say, the only consolation is, and today, the fact that I can stand here today for the first time in my 67 years that I'm on earth, that I've done doing this. My greatest audience was my classroom. There's a lot of past pupils and then the staff meetings, but I've never voiced, I never spoke in front of a podium. But anyway, I want to say we salute Eusebius for the impact he had on all our lives. And I knew I had a soft spot for him that time already, but I never realized, now with his passing on, I realized how much I really cared for him. Thank you, and we salute him. Thank you.
Ja, juffrou Juliet, en ons was geslaan, né? She had a soft spot. We were beaten with a cane. Unfair. It's not about eloquence, it's about authenticity. And thank you, juffrou Juliet, that you gave the best version of his life, and thank you for that. Now, with his journey, obviously he went to Graham College. So we're going to call on his friend, Graham College friend, Gareth. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and please allow me to read my tribute in fear of me breaking down and crying inconsolably. A tribute to a dear friend, trusted confidant, and all-round brilliant gentleman. I'm both incredibly blessed and fortunate to speak at the celebration of the life of one of the most accomplished writers and creative geniuses of our time. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to pay tribute to you, Eusebius. Euby and I met over 30 years ago when we were both to sit for an entrance test and an interview to attend Graham College the following year in 1992. And so a beautiful and lasting friendship was born. Both sons of civil servant fathers and mothers who were factory workers. It was not long before Euby showed his academic prowess and was duly awarded an academic tie in 1992. I remember when I got mine the following year, he joked that because my tie's lining was red, it indicated how I must have sweated blood to obtain it. As his confidence grew and involvement in school activities, I was often coerced into joining many societies, such as debating, Toastmasters, and public speaking. It was already hard to say no to him way back then. His persuasiveness only grew with time. My involvement, however, was short-lived. Many accolades and awards were to follow, including full colors for academic achievement, chess, and being elected our deputy head boy. In our final school year, and at the annual speech night, and on this very stage, you received almost every conceivable academic prize. We shared the Afrikaans Best Speakers Prize, and so for this precious memory, I will treasure for as long as I live. Our names are engraved alongside each other. Euby, with you in my corner, I've always felt safer. You have always proven to us who lived in the small university town, that anything, yes, anything, is possible if you make the most of your given opportunities and apply yourself. The boy from Middle Terrace graced world stages you and I could only dream of. I always looked forward to hear your stance on pressing issues. You were fearless in the pursuit of justice and truth, and became the voice of reason for me. I will always remember the conversations which started. Do you remember that time when, or what happened that day when I stand a little taller today because of you? I will forever treasure you, my famous friend. The void you have left behind will be difficult and near impossible to fill. And all I can say is thank you for always having found the time to hook up with me when I still lived down in Port Elizabeth. Our adventures, however, will forever remain ours, and not a word will be spoken of our good old times. Thank you, Nduduzo, for this opportunity. I cannot begin to tell you just how much I appreciate this. To your family, thank you for having raised a fine gentleman such as Euby, for instilling in him values that have made him become the remarkable public figure. You celebrated Euby and accepted him completely. Oh, and Euby, thank you for having made the poncho a fashionable item again. I love you and I adore you. Now rest in power, my beloved Euby.
Thank you, Gareth. As we move along, we're going to listen to one of Euby's favorite music pieces and telling stories. Thank you.
There's fiction in the space between lines on a page of memories. Write it down, but it doesn't mean not just telling stories. There's fiction in the space between you and reality. You will do and say anything. Make your everyday life seem less mundane. There's fiction in you and me. the distinction of the space between you and everybody. Give us all what we need. Give us one more sad song story. An indication of the space between. Sometimes a lie is the best thing. Sometimes a lie is the best thing. The best thing. Is the best thing.
I'm actually out of words. If you think about it, we're trying to put everything what Yubi did in one song. It feels like we are being cheated by what he was, because no amount of words can describe what people's lives really mean. Each and every one of us are so uniquely made, and he just stood out from the rest. Okay, let's go along. I think on his journey, after Graham College, he went overseas, he did what he did. But he also was at Rhodes University. So I would like to welcome Judge Bloom to come forward and just share your thoughts with us. Thank you.
To the program director, Duduzo Nyanda, your parents, family, the McKaiser family, the Stevens family, relatives and friends, esteemed guests, the Rhodes University community, our alumni network, the Makhanda community, members of the media, good morning. Goeiemorgen. Molweni. Dumela. Dumela. On behalf of the Rhodes University, I extend our sincere condolences on behalf of our Vice-Chancellor, the Council of the University, and the broader university community. As the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sizwe Mabizela, is traveling abroad at present, I'm accompanied by a delegation of Rhodes University led by the Acting Vice-Chancellor, who is the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Academic and Student Affairs, Professor Manapula Mapesela. When on 30 May this year, got word out that Eusebius McKaiser had passed on. The Rhodes University community, that's from members of council, employees, students, all our alumni network, found themselves shrouded in grief. We were in mourning, deep mourning and sorrow. No language can or will sufficiently describe the enduring sequel of despair, sadness, and even rage that our community is going through. Many continue to wonder, silently and loudly, why Eusebius? Why him? Why now? Disbelief continues to alternate with denial in many of us as the intrusion of ill-timed death and the resultant reality of the irreplaceable loss settles with every passing moment. We share the loss with innumerable others in society, locally, nationally, and internationally. There are many who knew Eusebius. There are even more who knew about him, who read his works, who listened to him, who were challenged and even affronted by his views, who followed him, and many more who disagreed with his strong and well-crafted public views about life and society. Today, we gather here in the wake of his untimely death to remember and to celebrate Eusebius for his formidable intellect, his caring nature, his friendship, and his activism. We are here to acknowledge his use of his gift of life in the most happy, productive, and imaginable ways possible. Eusebius lived his life. He did not just pass through it. He lived more in 44 years than many could dream of in 90. I feel honored to stand here and speak about such an outstanding alumnus of Rhodes University. I wish I was speaking about him under different and happier circumstances. Eusebius joined Rhodes University in 1997 to study a Bachelor of Arts degree in law and philosophy. True to his character, he went on to do his honors and masters in philosophy, which he obtained with distinction. Rhodes University, like many other institutions of higher learning, strives to produce in its students model citizens who are invested in humanity, who seek to empower others, lifelong learners with critical and inquisitive minds. Eusebius epitomized these institutional values. He was an embodiment of the Rhodes University spirit, robust, engaging, and with a well-cultivated sense of intersectionality. He stood for social justice and equality. His stance against racism was unequivocal and unmistakable. Those who worked closely with him at the university describe him as someone who displayed a great deal of enthusiasm and passion. Excellence, collegiality, in advancing the public good were some of the values that ran through his veins. Eusebius flew the Rhodes University flag high through his sterling work in the media space. He was an avid reader and an excellent public orator. He dedicated his time fully to issues of political relevance, providing mentorship and coaching to young and upcoming media personalities. The thought of him not being here as we edge towards an important election in 2024 is surreal. As an analyst, Eusebius had a special gift of explaining complex issues with uncanny simplicity. His incisive and hard-hitting approach in engaging with political and business protagonists was always geared towards promoting accountability. His tireless work and contributions in the media stimulated processes of democratic deliberations that enhance the civil life and the public sphere in society. He subscribed to very high professional standards and pursued his truth with logical fervor and clarity of thought. Having graduated from Rhodes University, Eusebius remained a very active member of our alumni network. He paid it forward in every conceivable manner. He was a proud donor. He would travel to Makhanda and while here eagerly engaged with students. He participated in various activities organized by different entities of the university. Eusebius was very proud of his association with Rhodes University, and his goal was to always share his experiences and wisdom with young students and his community. He would often say, quote, "Rhodes University is a very special and amazing academic institution where leaders come to learn. We, as old Rhodians, look out for each other. We are a community long after our days at the university," close quote. He used his voice and influence as a writer, analyst, and broadcaster in typical old Rhodian spirit to tackle popular struggles. He elevated the issues of corruption and racism to levels that could not be ignored by the public and by our political and business leaders. His signature post, "In the Ring with Eusebius," his column and posts on social media delved into parsing day-to-day concerns that face South Africans, and his reflections were always stimulating and eye-opening for his listeners, followers, and critics alike. If you needed someone who could articulate a controversial and complex matter with simplicity and in a detailed and eloquent manner, Eusebius was that person. The last time he visited the university was in February this year to take part in the introduction of the MENA menstrual cups. This is an initiative aimed at fighting period poverty and to protect the dignity of young women. Rhodes University will always remember him with abiding fondness for the person that he was, for what he stood for, and for all that he did to advance purposes. We are comforted by the knowledge that there is a time for everything. and that too shall follow, and that we too shall follow one day. We were very fortunate to not only have experienced his presence here, but also for having been part of his life and having witnessed his passion for reading and writing. We are thankful for the time we had with him, for the positive impact he has left behind. And we are proud to know that the next generation will continue to benefit from his outstanding intellect. His contributions, his passion for nurturing the next generation to be successful leaders, encouraging them to be the best version of themselves, as well as to live their truth, did not go unnoticed and will forever be remembered. While it is incredibly heartbreaking to lose such an inspirational individual, it brings contentment to know that those who come after him
Lubaba 18.